So, today I'm making a video on microwave transformers. And it's going to be very simple because it's the video that I could never find when I was starting on them. So, I'm going to be showing one transformer and the arcs that can make, one transformer with resonant capacitors, two transformers, and then two transformers with resonant capacitors. And yeah, just going to be showing how to do all that. Obviously, you should never do this because it's really dangerous. This is like thousands of volts and it'll go like kill you. It will kill you. So don't do this. But if you really want to, then you know, I'm not your dad, I'm not stopping you. But have a stick so you're never touching anything metal ever. PVC pipe is good, it's a really good insulator. Have a good board for all your stuff to be on because the core of these transformers is one of their outputs. So I've got a chopping board, it's a good insulator again. And wear gloves. These are only gardening gloves, but you know, it might be the extra layer of protection that it's better to have them than not. And wear safety Crocs, of course. So we're going to be talking about transformers, capacitors, parallel wiring and series wiring. I'm not going to explain any of that really because if you don't know what any of that means, you really shouldn't be doing this. You just should not be do something simple. Go lick a battery, I don't know. Okay, no, go research what that is, figure out what it is, and then maybe come back. But don't come back because don't do this. This is silly. Bad, dangerous, very dangerous. You could die. You can get all these parts. Well, they're microwave transformers, come on. They come from microwaves. So go to your local, well, I live in the middle of nowhere, so I can just go to the tip and just ask the guy, can I take a microwave, mate? And he goes, yeah, sure. So I take the microwaves and then I take them apart. But you know, you can find them in shops or something cheap. Capacitors, discharge them always. They can store charge for a long time. Whenever you're taking apart a microwave to get the nice parts, use gloves and like insulated pliers and stuff. You don't want to die. So the first one single microwave transformer. The big fat coil here, this one with thick wires, that's the primary coil, that's the input, and this big coil is the output. There's a little middle one in there, no one ever uses that, you can just cut it off. So, I'm in the UK, so I've got 240 volts AC out the thing. So one of those will go in here, and one will go in here. So I've got my plug, make sure it's disconnected before you do anything. Get doesn't matter which one is blue or brown. Put one on here and the other one on here. And then the output of the transformer, this is one of them. Sometimes there's just a little wire in there. I've got another here. It's another spade bit on the output. But in this case, it's a wire, and the other output is the core itself. You can see, yes, here, that's just bolted into the core. So you want to take a clip onto the core, maybe shine it a bit so you get a good connection. A clip onto there, and then the clip that's on your chicken stick onto this wire. And then that's it really. Put on your gloves and then you can just try it. So this is one transformer, nothing else, just a microwave transformer. Plug it in, everything's wired up correctly, on. Now I can just, see that? Fairly small, boring arcs. Very bright though, wear sunglasses. That's all. So that was one transformer. Pretty impressive, but not really. So let's make it more impressive. Out of the microwave will also be capacitors. Inside this capacitor is basically just two metal plates. One is connected to this and the other is connected to this, and they let charges build up, and then there's some oil and stuff between them to stop the charge jumping across. And they're used to like smooth out the wave in AC, so it smooths it out. When you get a capacitor, make sure you get some insulated pliers and just bridge those two contacts, which discharges the capacitor of any charge it might have had, and then you're okay to touch it. It's fine. But they can store charge, and it's enough charge to still kill you. So, yeah, don't. But then you get 2 capacitors from a microwave. You want exactly the same rating on them. So these are both from the same factory, both made here. 1 microfarad, 1 microfarad, 85, you know, look at all these codes, they're all the same codes, they're made in the same factory. So you get your 2 capacitors, they're exactly the same, put them on your chopping board, and I've already done it, but wire this to this, this to this, so they're in parallel. The 2 capacitors are in parallel. And then you put your transformer on, your transformer output of the secondary coil onto that spade bit, and then your output onto your stick on the other side. If you put your output here as well, it would just be bypassing the capacitors and they wouldn't do anything. So now that you've done that, everything else is the same still. These are here, just a block. That's from another transformer. But this is 2 resonant capacitors. Turn it on. And this should be slightly bigger arcs. Yep, definitely bigger. And when you're done with this one, turned it off and everything, just get your stick and tap it on your contacts. And this just discharges the capacitors, makes sure that there's no charge left in them at all, and then you're okay to touch the circuits. But you wouldn't have been until then. Right, that was a bit more interesting. Now let's do 2. So we will head over here, grab another transformer. These are pretty much exactly the same. Very similar transformers. They're made in the same factory, just slightly different part number. I think this one's maybe a bit bigger, I don't know. And you want to plug out, disconnect this spade bit and this spade bit, so you've got nothing in. I'm using a 10 amp breaker just because it's more easier. And then you plug, so what I'm doing is 1 spade bit onto this 10 amp breaker, so the brown wire is just going through that into here, into one of these, and then both of them. So that brown is going into both of these transformers, and then the blue is going here and here. So all that is blue going to blue, so both the blues are in this and this are both blue, and then this one and this one are both brown. So that's those 2 transformers in parallel, which means they both get 240 volts, they both get the same voltage. Oh, this one's a bit warm. Both get the exact same voltage, but more current draw. So this one draws 5 amps on its own, 2 is going to draw about 10, so you might be tripping breakers now. And then we'll do it first with no capacitors. Oh, for goodness sake, get this thing out of here. Yeah, 2 transformers. So you want the outputs to be in series, because when you do things in series, it adds the voltage, not the current. So I just jam that in there. It's probably fine. And then get your stick, connect it to this wire. Your other stick, connect it to this transformer. So now that goes into here, so they're in series, the outputs, everything's fine. Everything's fine on this end. Blue goes here and then round to here. So the blue ones are on the 2 left sides, and then brown goes here and then also over to here. So the brown ones are on the 2 right sides. So I can just plug it in, turn it on, and see what happens. Much bigger arcs. Actually, no, not that much bigger. About the same size as 1 transformer with resonant capacitors. So let's try more. So we'll do now 2 transformers with capacitors. Unplug this. Don't need to tap it because there's no capacitors, nothing to discharge. Unclip this from here. Grab your capacitor bank. Whack it down. Oh, for goodness sake, stay still. Plug in. It's quite hard to do this with one hand. Plug that onto there. Where's this? Here. Output from the capacitors, same as earlier. Put that onto there. That's it. That's all. Nothing changed here. All we've done is added some capacitors to this. That's all. So let's try that and see how much different that looks. Plug it in, turn it on, and go. Wow. Much bigger, impressive arcs. Wow. Turn it off, unplug it. Once again, we've got capacitors. Discharge them. That's all. Yeah. That's how to wire up microwave oven transformers. However you like. You don't need this. I just have it there. I don't even think it works. And you can add more capacitors, see what happens. I've never tried it with 4 capacitors. I might do that just now.